Hey y'all, it's Deanne here with another prenatal flow, really working on stretching through the side bodies, making room for all those organs that are getting pushed up and room for baby to expand. And then because your breasts are getting heavier, you tend to get this rounded shoulder motion, and we're going to focus on opening up the shoulders. So a couple things we'll need: a strap. Now, if you don't have a strap, I have used my 4-year-old nephew's pants that I found on the floor. He was wearing pants, but these were just an extra pair. And, they'll work just the same. So if you have like an old sweatshirt, a pair of pants, a belt, a robe belt, that works well. So just something that's got some length to it so we can work into the shoulders. And then I'm sitting on a pillow. It's a pretty thick pillow. It's a double stacked up pillow. I'm sitting on a pillow just to lift my hips. It gives me a little bit more comfort. I encourage the same for you. It's not always comfortable to sit on the floor. So this is a time to lift up your hips. And then I just have an extra blanket here just in case if I want to lift myself up a little bit more or create a little bit more comfort for myself. So find a comfortable seat. Sit on the edge of a blanket, a bolster, a pillow, whatever's comfortable. And then take a moment and close your eyes. And you always have the option to not close your eyes and just find a focal point to focus on. But take some time to breathe. Nasal stuffiness is very normal for pregnancy, so if breathing through your nose just isn't super comfortable today, you're always welcome to breathe through the mouth. One of the things that we forget when we're in the throes of pregnancy and all the craziness that surrounds it, preparing for baby, handling all the baby, bodily changes that come, dealing with crazy family members with it, we forget time to focus on ourselves. So this is a time for just you, a time for your breath, a time for your body, and not worrying about anyone but you and your baby. So take a moment, scan your body. Notice what you're feeling in your body. What sensations are you feeling? And if you're feeling pain or discomfort, adjust yourself, change yourself. Maybe you want to sit against a wall. But notice if you just have areas that just don't feel as good as the others. They don't necessarily hurt, but they just don't feel as good. They might be tight or tense. And that's okay. You don't have to acknowledge why, but just be aware that that area is there. So then as we go through the practice, we can give those areas a little bit more breath, a little bit more energy, and then a whole lot of grace. Start rolling the shoulders. So you can open your eyes if you choose, or you can keep them closed. When we roll the shoulders, I like to go up, back, and down. It's not wrong to roll the shoulders forward by any means. It's not wrong. But we spend so much time with our shoulders rounded forward. Let's open them up. Let's get them ready for just some change in position. You get to decide the pace and the size of your shoulder rolls here. Shoulder rolls are such a quote unquote basic movement that we forget how nice it can just feel to bring a little movement into the shoulders. The beauty of our practice today is, one, it's going to benefit you. But if you want to bring your partner into it, or a friend or a family member, they're going to benefit from this practice as well. So don't feel like you have to practice this one alone. And then relax the shoulders down. Take in a breath, reach the arms up and overhead. Now, not always do they get overhead. Like I said, your shoulders are hunched forward, your breasts are pulling you forward. So it's okay if your arms are only here, and that's okay. We're gonna take right hand down, left arm reaches up and over. So keep your hips planted on the ground. Now it's very normal to kind of wanna round forward here, and that's okay, but open up because we are gonna round forward there in a moment. Next breath, come all the way up and over. Exhale, take the left hand down, right arm goes over. Keep your hips down. Make sure your neck and shoulders are in a position where they're not causing strain or pain. Keep the shoulder open. Don't let it roll forward. Taking a breath, bring the arms overhead. And then exhale, right hand down, left arms up and over. Now, we're gonna really open up through the left shoulder here. And I'm gonna tell you to turn your head to look towards the ceiling. But again, we're keeping neck and shoulders comfortable. So if it hurts to look up towards the ceiling, don't do it. Just find a little rotation in your head towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, you're gonna take your left shoulder, roll it forward. Turn your head towards the floor. Left hand still reaching out to the side. So we're starting to tap into those muscles on the back. Really starting to get into the upper traps and the rhomboids. Inhale, open up. Exhale, roll forward. Stay here and breathe for a moment. Inhale, open up. Exhale, roll forward. Stay here and breathe. Now, when I say stay here, there's always micro movements allowed, micro adjustments. If you're just not comfortable, that's okay. Next, inhale, open up. Stay here for the exhale. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, left hand down. Right arm stretches over. Keep your hips planted. Your right hip wants to lift up. Don't let it. Open through the right shoulder. Oh, turn your head towards the ceiling while keeping the neck and shoulders comfortable. Do not strain your neck here. On an exhale, roll the right shoulder forward. Turn your head towards the floor. Right fingertips reaching out. Inhale, open up. Exhale, roll the shoulder forward. If at any point you get tired of just this normal seated position, this can be done standing as well as it can be done on your knees. Inhale, open up. One more time. Exhale, roll the right shoulder forward. Reach through the fingertips. Inhale, open the shoulder. Stay here for the exhale. Next, inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, the arms down. Take a moment, roll the shoulders again, because we are going to bring those arms overhead a few more times. And we don't want you to experience pain. And also, it's just sometimes tough to have those arms overhead for any length of time. Very normal. So again, taking a breath, reach the arms overhead. When they get overhead, we're going to create a circular motion from our bra line. Now, even if you don't prefer to wear a bra, you know where the bra line is. It's that mid-torso. And so we're going to create circles right there. So going in one direction, doesn't matter which direction you start. And it doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to look very circular. It might look oval. It might look rectangular. It might look like a hexagon. And we're just trying to create movement. Movement right there because we have all these organs pushed up into our rib cage that aren't normally in our rib cage. So we want to keep the muscles between our ribs able to move, change the direction of the circles. And so we want those rib cages, we want those intercostal muscles to have some pliability and flexibility to them so they can expand a little bit and create movement. But then we're also creating a little bit more movement for our lungs to expand. Next, inhale, bring it back center. Exhale, arms down. Take a moment, roll your shoulders if that's a little comfortable. Again, you always have the option that you can change. Not everyone's comfortable sitting for a long period of time, and that's okay. We are going to come off our seat in a moment. We've got one more seated one before we change up and then come back to seated in a little bit. Grab your strap or anything you're using in lieu of a strap, but you want it fairly long. And so this one's actually not my normal strap, but I couldn't find it. And so you really want your hands wide. And my normal strap's a little bit wider than this. And so I can actually probably go a little bit wider. So there can be some laxity between your hands here because we're gonna really open up those shoulders, and I want us to be able to work both shoulders at the same time, knowing that it's okay to do one shoulder at a time. So hold your arms out to the sides with a strap in front of you. Taking a breath, reach the arms all the way overhead. As you exhale, arms come down behind your back. When they do that, suddenly your chest is lifted up. Your shoulder blades are squeezing together. You're probably sitting up a little bit taller. Maybe, maybe not. So next, inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Exhale the arms down in front of you. Now, if you had to do one shoulder at a time, first step you try, take your hands wider. And if that doesn't work, then continue doing one shoulder at a time, because one shoulder at a time is better than not doing it at all. So it's okay if you're not doing both shoulders at one time. Next, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bring the arms behind the back. Now you can kind of let them go a little lax back here, but keep that open chest. Keep the shoulder blades squeezing together on your back. Make sure you can breathe. So at no point should you ever hold your breath. We don't want to hold our breaths even when we're not pregnant, but especially when we are pregnant. We want that oxygen-rich blood to get to our placenta and our baby. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down in front. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms behind you. Stay here and breathe. Keep the chest lifted, really squeezing the shoulder blades together on your back. Just breathe. Just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. It's like Dory, but instead of swimming, we're breathing. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down in front. Oh, take a moment. If you want to roll your shoulders, roll your shoulders. But take a moment and notice how they feel. Maybe you're just sitting up taller a little naturally. Maybe that's what your shoulders were seeking. And then we're gonna roll over onto our hands and knees. So set your strap to the side. We are actually done with it. And we're gonna roll over to hands and knees. Now, when we get to our knees, I'm gonna use my blanket to cushion my knees. I'm a big creature of comfort. And so I am going to move my pillow out of the way. I'm going to put my blanket under my knees to give myself a little cushion. Now, there's other options you can do here because this is pretty tough. You know, we're carrying a little extra weight here. So if you wanted to take that blanket or the pillow and put it between your backside and your heels, it gives you a little bit more cushion. So you can put your hips back and rest a little bit. Optional completely. I'm gonna stay up on my hands and knees because we are gonna do a few cat cows and then we're gonna do a shoulder stretch as well. So you really want wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. And what happens here is your belly is heavy and it might be pulling you down, and that's normal. See if you can try to get a little bit flatter of a back, especially as your belly grows. It's going to really start pulling forward. It's really going to start exacerbating that lumbar curve, but you really want to pull up. It does require a little abdominal engagement. So that being said, this is our neutral spine. Cat cow. We start with cow on an inhale. So this is when our belly does come down and then our chin and chest lift up. You're sticking your backside up behind you. On an exhale, tuck your tailbone, round up through the spine, chin towards your chest. It might not be a super big movement here. It all depends on the size of you and your belly. Next, inhale, cow pose. Stick your backside up and behind you. Next, exhale, cat pose. Round up through the spine, chin towards the chest. There's a little tailbone tuck going on. Inhale again. Cow pose. Exhale again. Cat pose. Inhale back to your neutral spine. So as we stay on our hands, if ever your hands get tired, you can always make fists and come onto the knuckles, or you can always come to forearms. What we're about to do is really stretch and strengthen through the upper traps and the rhomboids, which we've already tapped into a little bit, but this is going to be really nice as well. So bring the right fingertips to the back of the head. They're just resting there. The elbows pointed out. Taking in a breath, lift your right elbow up high to the sky. It might not go very far. That's okay. Exhale, your right elbow is going to come down as though it would touch your left wrist. It might touch, it might not. But you're stretching towards it. You're feeling that lengthening through the upper traps and the rhomboids in the upper part of your back. Next, inhale, reach the elbow out and up. Exhale, elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, elbow out and up. Exhale, elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, out and up. This time as you exhale, just bring your hand back down to the mat. Left hand to the back of the head, elbow points out. Inhale, lift up with the elbow. Exhale, the elbow towards the right wrist. Or if you have your forearms down, it's going towards your elbow. Inhale, the elbow out and up. Exhale, elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, lift the elbow out and up. Exhale, elbow towards the wrist. Inhale, out and up. This time as you exhale, hand back to the mat. And then find your way back into a seated position. So again, you can sit on your pillow, you can sit on a blanket, whatever's super comfortable for you. I think I'm gonna sit on a little of both, actually. And so you can be close to the wall. You're always allowed to sit up against the wall. Give yourself a little extra support. This is a time of your life where it's okay to take those extra creature comforts. It's okay to give yourself that extra little something. So bringing the soles of the feet together, knees out wide, with your feet out kind of far. Don't pull them in close. Keep them out. You need room for your belly to fold here. So taking in a breath as you exhale, hinge forward. Now when you hinge forward, you want to feel like your backside's lifting up and behind you, just like we did in cow pose. So we're not tucking the tailbone here. Backside's up and behind you. And then hands come towards your feet. And it's gonna happen just because your belly and your boobs are a little bit heavier. It's okay to round through that upper back. We've done a lot of stretching through it. Big thing here is your backside's lifting up and behind you, as though you're sticking your backside up, your butt up behind you. I used to work for a place where butt was a naughty 4-letter word. So I kind of don't like to say it that often, but you're gonna be wiping a lot of butts here soon. On an inhale, come up all the way. Take the left leg, extend it long and wide to the side. So long and wide. Now this right leg, you can keep it where it is, or you can pull it in a little bit closer. Your body will dictate what happens there. So long and wide, left leg, generally speaking, knee and toes point up towards the ceiling. Now that's just because I don't want the leg to fall out or in. We really want to keep things pretty neutral. Left hand slides down left leg on an exhale. You might get to the point where you can grab foot, and I can, but I don't want to today because I want to find a little bit more comfort, a little bit more length. And I'm gonna rest my forearm on my calf, on my shin. You might rest it on your forearm, maybe you bring it to the floor, but the right hip's gonna wanna lift up. Find that place where you can keep your right hip down. There's already some length occurring through your low back here, through the right side of your low back. And if you experience sciatica, you might be finding some stretch right around that sciatic nerve. And then a couple options here. You can reach your right arm up and over, creating even more length through the right side body. The back part of the side body though, really where your back starts to bother you, still making space for baby, but sometimes staying here is really difficult. So your right hand can either like hold up your head, hold it up, your head's really heavy, so hold it up, or you can keep right hand behind your low back. So long as you don't allow that right shoulder to roll forward, you keep it open. You decide what works for you. Take a moment just to breathe. We forget to breathe. Breathing happens automatically, that we forget to put some effort into it. I never forget how much I enjoy this pose. Hopefully you're enjoying it as much as I am. Next, inhale, come all the way back up. Take a moment. Notice how the right side feels compared to the left. Hopefully the right side just feels juicy and lovely, and we're gonna get the left side to feel just as good. So switch it out. Right leg goes long and wide to the side. Left leg pulls in. And because you're sitting on a blanket or a cushion or a bolster or something, you might have to adjust because sometimes your hips do slide forward a little bit. Right leg's long and wide to the side. Again, generalized shape of knees and toes towards the ceiling. I don't want you to put a lot of stress and effort into it, but I just don't want them falling open. We're not getting lazy here, okay? Right hand to the right thigh. On an exhale, slide down. You might get to the toes. You might not. Again, I'm gonna go for a little bit more comfort here. I'm gonna find a little bit more ease in my practice. So my forearm's gonna rest on my shin. I did instinctively try to stress my hamstrings here, the back of my thighs, but make sure you're like relaxing. Don't put unnecessary stress on the body. Left arm can either reach up and over. You might support the head, or you might have low hand at the low back with the shoulders staying open. As always, neck and shoulders in a comfortable spot. Stay here and just breathe. Just keep breathing, just keep breathing. It's okay to make those micro adjustments to the body. Always okay to make those micro adjustments. Next, inhale, bring it all the way back up. Oh. Take a moment, notice the difference between the two sides. Hopefully one side feels a little bit better. And then we're gonna put our feet down on the mat, knees bent, and walk your feet in as close to you as you can get them. So not everyone's gonna get them as close as I have them. This is a pose that I practiced for many, many, many years. And so I have a variation of this pose that's gonna look different than other people's, okay? So if your feet are out a little bit further, that's okay. You've got a lot more happening in your body than I do as a non-pregnant person right now. So be gracious with yourself and find what works for you. And if you feel like, yeah, I could probably bring my feet in a little bit closer if I was lifted up a little bit more, maybe you get a step stool instead of a step stool. That's cool too. But once you get here, bring your elbows in between the knees, palms together. Now, what's gonna happen? We're gonna tend to slouch forward. I want you to stay as upright as you possibly can. You can absolutely do this leaning against the wall. Absolutely, 110% you can. But this is a squat. This is a squat. This is actually a birthing position for many, many, many cultures. They just squat down and birth their babies this way. There are many birthing centers who encourage birthing this way as well. So this might be your birthing position. It's a little bit more comfortable. But stay here and just breathe. This can be done without sitting on a cushion. You can just have your backside floating in the air and all the weight's in your feet. It does take a little bit more effort, and I do encourage you to still be near a wall because I don't want you to fall over. Then release the elbows and take a moment. You can take two options here. We're gonna come to the conclusion of our practice. You can take a seated meditation where you just sit silently for a few moments, or you can take a shavasana. If you're gonna go for a shavasana, I do encourage you to lie on your left side, which is always safest, takes the most pressure off of your vena cava. And I always encourage a pillow, and I'm actually gonna put that on my blanket under my head, because I'm gonna take my pillow and place it between my knees and my ankles. So then I'm lying on my left side and I've got my hips and knees all in alignment with my ankles, and everything's good. And you can take a little rest here, or just a seated meditation, whatever's comfortable for you, but take a few moments of quiet. Take a few moments of rest. And if it turns into a nap, you deserve it.